Rust in Peace, Betty, the resurrection of a 1970 VW Beetle. Let me tell you about Betty. Betty is, or was, a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle, the color of expired mustard and roughly the same texture. I found her on a sketchy corner of Facebook Marketplace, listed as Great Project Car, ran when parked. That should have been my first red flag. It turns out, ran when parked meant ran away from hope and into a field where it sat for 12 years. But something about her round headlights, chipped chrome bumpers, and undeniable stubbornness reminded me of my Nana. Sweet, sassy, and absolutely refusing to die. I had no mechanical experience, just an internet connection, a set of borrowed tools, and the blind optimism of someone who thought, how hard can it be? On day one, I opened the driver's door and was greeted by a squirrel. Not a squirrel-shaped stain or a nesting site. A real, very angry squirrel who apparently had squatter's rights. That's when I knew. This wasn't just a project. This was a relationship. Restoring Betty wasn't a process. It was a saga. I started with the basics, dragging her home on a trailer that had one working strap and zero dignity. Then came the teardown. Every bolt I touched was rusted tighter than a pickle jar in a blizzard. WD-40 became my cologne. My weekends turned into a montage of scraped knuckles, lost sockets, and YouTube tutorials narrated by suspiciously chipper Australians. Cleaning the interior was like opening an ancient tomb. I found 6 mouse skeletons, 3 1982 pennies, and a moldy Twinkie that had not stood the test of time. Replacing parts became a treasure hunt. I swapped out the engine. It had seized sometime during the Obama administration, rewired the electrics, which may have originally been installed by a drunk octopus, and learned the sacred art of bondo sculpting. The little victories kept me going. The day I got the new headlights to work, I danced around the garage like it was the final scene of Footloose. When the new paint went on, a deep ocean blue that shimmered in the sun, I nearly cried. Okay, I did cry, and then stepped in the wet paint. Breakthrough moment. Then, one Saturday afternoon, with oil-stained hands and hope in my chest, I turned the key. Betty coughed, she wheezed, she sputtered like a grandpa trying to start a story. And then, vroom, she roared to life. It was the most beautiful, uneven, slightly too loud sound I had ever heard, like a coffee grinder crossed with a lawnmower, but it was music to me. I stood there, grinning like I'd just invented fire. The squirrel, now relocated to a tree out front, even seemed impressed. That first drive was pure magic. The windows down, the wind in my hair, and the distinctive Beetle engine rumble echoing down the road. Sure, the brakes were still a little mushy, and she smelled vaguely like burnt toast, but she was alive. As we cruised down the street, I realized Betty had changed. She'd gone from a decaying heap of memories to a living, rolling story, and maybe I had changed too. I started the project with zero experience, tons of doubt, and a dream. Now, I had grease under my nails, knowledge in my brain, and a confidence that only comes from resurrecting a dead car with sheer stubbornness and questionable language. Now, every time I start her up, I smile. Not just because she runs, but because I made her run. From squirrel condos and rusted bolts to joyrides and fist bumps from strangers. Betty's more than a car. She's proof that with enough patience, sweat, and caffeine, even the rustiest things, or people, can shine again.